in Parsha for the weekly parsha, and it's Vayelech, page 1094 in the Art Scroll. So it says, now normally, before I start this, normally is connected to Parsha and Tzavim. It's normally a double parsha this year because we have so many weeks we have to kill, as it were. So that's why this year it's separate. And the truth is, if you would put Nitzav and Vayelech together, it would make a little more sense in what's going on here, because he just finished telling them in Parsha Nitzavim that God has put before you heaven, reward and punishment, and so on and so forth. Now it comes to the next part. Vayelech Moshe went. Vaydeber et hadavim ha'ela. He spoke these words, El Bnei Israel, to Bnei Israel. Really, there's nothing to talk about there. He went. So then it goes, Vayomer alehem, and he said to them, Ben mea ve'esrim shana anochi hayom. Today, it's my birthday. It's Zion Adar. That's what we know. And he was 120 years old. That's what he says. Today, I'm 120 years old. For those who have Facebook, it says every single time you have a birthday, today is blank's birthday. That's why we all know your individual birthdays. If you were so kind to when you were filling out your forms on Facebook, if you put your birthday, my brother put down the wrong birthday, and so I saw it was my brother's birthday. I said, unless I'm wrong, I've known him for many a year, this ain't your birthday. He said, what do I give my Facebook does? Okay. But
why is Shana we may have learned this before, but why is Shana in the singular?
Oh, because it's over 10. Anytime in Hebrew, if it's below 10, then it's plural. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Shanim. But once it goes above 10, it always goes back to the singular.
Interesting.
Yeah. Good question.
Do we know why it does that?
Because God has a divine sense of humor. No, I don't know.
So literally, it's I'm 120 year old.
Yeah, but right. But we know it means yes. So he says, and like I said, and Rashi explains, today filled, when he was saying Hayom, he meant today, my days and years are filled, because on this day I was born, on this day I will die. He knows he's dying. How does he know he's dying? So the art, I have the art scroll right here. So the art scroll brings down the Zohar. Whenever you want to blame something, you go right to the Zohar, and you don't have to say where it is. But he says somewhere, he says, as the Zohar teaches, the most holy and righteous people are sensitive to spirituality and able to tell when the soul begins to ebb away from the body. That's the Orach Chaim basing on the Zohar. Okay, so he knew he was going to die that day. And he says, Lo uchal od, let's say, v'lavo. I can no longer continue or still go and come. What does that mean? Rashi says, Yechol tashashka chol, could it be that his power is weakened? Tamalomar, it's impossible, because the verses later on say, Lo kahate enovelos lo nas necho, that his eyes did not weaken and his
Stamina?
It's not stamina, it's the moisture didn't run. So in other words, he didn't look old. No. He didn't look old, that's the point. So what does it mean that he could not do? So Rashi explains, I don't have permission anymore to go out and to come back, in order to do these things. Because it was taken from me, Hashem took it from me and gave it to Yeshua. So Yeshua is going to be your next leader. So he says, that's why he's saying, I can no longer go. And Hashem said to me, Al ta'avor, lo ta'avor et yardena zeh, you will not pass this Jordan. Okay, Hashem. So Rashi says, when Moshe said, Hashem said to me, this is the explanation of the words, I can no longer go and come. Why? Because Hashem told me so. So on a simple level, you can say that it just means that Hashem didn't tell me I could go. Tevar acher, Rashi says, you don't like that, I have another one for you. Let's say lavo b'divrei Torah means that I can no longer be conversant with Torah, melamed shnistamim u'mimenu mesorot ma'no chochma. So from here we learn that the wells of his wisdom were stopped up, as it were. So he wouldn't feel bad. So here, What does he say here? Thank you. I knew I So he says, Moshe did not mean to say that old age impeded him, for the Torah testifies he was still vibrant. Oh, that's how they translate. Fine. Rather, he meant that he could no longer lead them because, as he went on to say, Hashem has forbidden him to accompany the nation across the Jordan. According to the Ibn Ezra, Moshe meant to say that he was too old to lead them in war, but he assured them that it made no difference who their leader would be, for Hashem himself would destroy the enemy. Not what I was looking for, actually, but okay. Let's see if I can find it really quickly. So the question is, why did Hashem stop up, as it were, his ability to have conversations in Torah? I mean, that's the ultimate torture to a person, especially Moshe Rabbeinu. So the Siftei Chacham explains the reason that Hashem did this was in order that he should not be distressed when the greatness was taken from him and given to Yehoshua, because since the wisdom, as it were, was taken away from him, why should I have life? That would be the question. And so, you understand what the question was? In other words, why would Hashem take it away? Hashem should let him go out with a bang, as it were. So the fact that he doesn't is so that he won't be distressed over it. He'll realize he's not the one that's fit for this anymore, that Yehoshua was given to him, and he'll be happy that way.
Can we almost compare this to something like, okay, so, I mean, and it's actually today, I think pretty much we know that that the human being, the cells in the body can't last that long, 120 years. And the body just wears out, the cellular structure, I guess. But what about like maybe it's like, could we say almost something like akin to Alzheimer's starting, and he was aware that maybe he just became not so quick anymore and couldn't remember things and knew it was time to stop.
I mean, that's what it would sound like. I'm not going to argue one way or another. That's what it would sound like, that he was doing that. But I think it's more the other way, that he understood that Hashem gave him the wherewithal to do these things, and now he was feeling that going away, understanding that it was for the best, because you don't want, the worst thing to do is to always remember what the other guy was like, right? If you ever want to, what they say is you should never follow a rabbi who was in the position for 30 years. You don't want to follow him, because in other words, you don't want to be the next rabbi. Because no matter how good you are, you're the interim rav. No matter how good you are. If the rabbi, only if the rabbi, by the way, was beloved by the community. If the rabbi was hated by the community, anybody can go in.
It's like in any, where you've been around, where in Chicago, like the major shuls, and David's familiar with old time shuls there. Or it's Rabbi so-and-so's shul, and he's been gone for 20 years.
Correct.
Even
still his shul.
Even like Rabbi Small shul. Rabbi Small Senior passed away. His son, he's the rav there. It's also Rabbi Small, but it's not the same.
Correct.
That was his father.
You have shuls. And I think I forget what it was, Wilkes-Barre, I think it was, where again the rabbi died. He was there for 50 years. I'm pretty sure that's who it was. And his son-in-law came in. It was an interim position, and he came in because the rabbi died suddenly after 50 years. He died suddenly, and it was very sad, actually. He died, and so I was interviewed. I think it was Wilkes-Barre. I'm not sure. I have a memory of Wilkes-Barre, but I could be wrong there. But I said to the person who was interviewing me, telling me about the rabbi, I said, "Is the community ready to take somebody?" That was my question to him. I didn't get the job. They didn't offer it to me, but I don't know if I would have taken it, even if they offered it to me, because they were still living with the ghost. That's how I viewed it. And I mean, I could be 100% wrong. I hope the next guy they got in didn't turn out to be an interim rav. But I remember when I went to Moncton, I'll never forget this. Here I am, a Kohen, not supposed to go in graveyards. My first job. And the guy who was taking me around with the car, because everybody, in every show when you want to show the Rav the town, so he knows what he's buying, as it were. Fine. So I'm on interview and you're on interview. We're both on interviews here. In other words, when I'm interviewing a town, you're interviewing me, fine. I have to also like the town. And so the guy said, I'm going to show you the cemetery. I was like, no, it's all right. You don't have to show me. At first job, I was like, I really don't see this.
Yeah.
So he said, then he pointed out, he said, that's where the rabbi lives. I looked. I see the tomb. I said, what do you mean the rabbi lives? The rabbi, that's where we buried him. The rabbi lives. He's on the Babich. But I remember he said that to me, and I was thinking, oh my God. Now, I didn't follow that rabbi. There were 4 rabbis intervening between that guy and me. At least 4.
He's still
the rabbi. He ruled from the grave. And, that's scary. But I mean, that's how people look. I say, your rabbi's small. This was, I forget his rabbi's name, but I'll never forget, that's where the rabbi lives. Okay?
Wow.
So I think that's what's going on here too, that Hashem understands human people, the humans. He created us. So he makes it so the transition is seen as a necessary thing. That's how I understood it all the time. Okay, let's go on. So, next line says, Hashem, Elokecha, Hashem, your God, who over lefanecha, He is causing you, He is crossing you over before you. He will cross before you. And it's interesting, he says He will cross before you, instead of He is crossing before you. Here's once again where you see a participle being used as a future.
Which word?
And that was over in parsha and pasuk gimel. Over is really a participle. If you would be in modern Hebrew, you would say he is passing. It would be like that. But in biblical Hebrew, it can be a future also. It doesn't have to say Hashem ya'avo lefanecha. So it's very, and Moshe is speaking. Let's not forget Moshe is speaking at this point. So he is passing before you.
Does that usually only happen when it's referring to Hashem in the Torah, or is that something that happens in general?
It's more of a general rule. Yeah. Remember, I'm speaking to you, so as I'm speaking to you, I don't say future He will pass, because He's passing before. He's bringing you across.
Right.
Yeah. Hu Yashmid, now it goes future. He will destroy these nations from before you. Verishtam, and you will inherit them. I'm just looking because it could also be. Where is it? He will cross, and you shall possess them. Okay. Yehoshua, who over lefanecha? Yehoshua, he is passing before you. Kashir diber Hashem, just as Hashem spoke. So you have 2 people passing suddenly. It's Hashem passing before you, and then it says Yehoshua will pass before you. So yeah.
I thought Moshe was passing.
Moshe is dying.
Yeah.
Passing away. Shkayach. Okay. Shkayach. Okay. He's making a joke. Okay. Yeah, okay. So it's all right. So Sforno says when he says Hashem Elokecha v'lefanecha, that Hashem will pass before you. Kamo kain ein lachem, as a result, ein lachem litatzev al ma shetov ad mikem. So therefore, you don't have to be depressed or saddened of what you're losing from me. In other words, ki amnam Hashem Elokecha. Because truly Hashem will pass before you, and with that you will merit an hanhaga, a leader that would be better than me. Yoshua, and that will be Yoshua. Ki amnam Yoshua enam manhig. He says, but truly Yoshua wasn't the manhig. He wasn't the one who causes you to go along. He was, but he will pass over before you with these mitzvot that will bring him up to be the manhig. So really, Hashem's the manhig. The manhig is the one who leads the congregation. Okay, you understand? Let's just leave it at that, so I don't keep translating. A manhig is the leader. So you're saying Yoshua really isn't the leader until he crosses. Once he crosses,
Yeah.
that through that he's going to become the leader.
Sorry about you saying Passover is the crossing over the
Jordan.
Jordan, right?
Yeah. Okay, so that's how the Sforno is looking at that. So also an interesting thing.
So you could say maybe that minhag is what you do, and manhig is the one who tells you what to do, so to speak.
Yeah.
Making the leader.
The custom, right? So the minhag is the custom. The manhig is the one who caused that, right? Good. Yeah. Okay. Let's go on. So now what happens is, V'yasah Hashem lachem. So Hashem will lahem. I'm sorry. Hashem will do to them. Kasher asal Sichon ulaog malchei Mari la'artzam. Just as he did to Sichon and to Og, the kings of the Amorites, and to their lands, Asher Hishmid Otam, that he destroyed them. So he's telling him everything's really going to be good. By the way, Rashi is very silent on this whole thing. Why? Because there's no problem in Pshat. There's no problem in Pshat. And the simple understanding of the text is quite clear. For Rashi only speaks up when there's a problem in the text. So then he'll address it. But right now it's just a matter of Hashem is going to do this, Hashem is going to do that. And by the way, that's sort of the second Aliyah we're on.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like I said, this starts to move, and we have to hear, just in a regular sense, that Hashem is going to do all of these things. And so I'll ask you a question. Why would Moshe have to start saying he's going to destroy them, these nations, these that we're about to enter into, just like he did to Sichon and Og? Why would he have to mention that?
Because the other nations were like Sichon and Og?
Okay, and therefore, they were like the other nations, and therefore?
They're going to be destroyed like the other nations?
Correct.
Or
Who were Sichon and Og? Were they weak kings?
no.
They were very strong kings, right? They were the ones they were the paid protectors of the people on the east side. What, east or west? I forget that. Avra Yarden. So that's the east side?
Yeah.
The east side of the Jordan, where Jordan is. They were the protectors, and they were taken out. So now you're going to have these Canaanite priests and so on and so forth. They were also strong, but no, they weren't as strong as the other ones. So if they're going to take out, if you want to encourage them, you say, just as he took out Sichon and Og and took over the lands, he destroyed them, so also he's going to be with you here. Unatanam, yeah.
If we can take those guys out with God's help, surely we can take care of this.
Exactly. That's what he's saying. Good. Unatanam, so then he says, hey, Unatanam Hashem lifnechem, Hashem will give them before you. Ve'asitim lehem, and he will do for them. You will do for them k'chol hamitzvah asher tziviti etchem, like all the commandment, or the commandments, since it's a collective here, that I have commanded you. Which commandments are we talking about?
The ones about killing the Canaanites?
Yeah, wipe them out. You have to do your job. Okay, so that's very important. If you do your job, then things will happen. If you don't, then you're going to be in trouble. Okay. So then what happens? He says, Chizku v'imsu. Have courage. Be strong and have courage. That's how you put it. Be strong and have courage. Al tira'u. Do not be afraid. V'al ta'artzu mipnehem. And do not tremble, I guess is how you would say that. Tremble before them. How does he say it? Do not be broken. Okay. Be broken before them. Ki Hashem elokecha, because Hashem, your God, hu alechimach, He is the one who goes with you. Lo yapracha, you should not become weak. For lo yazveka, and lo yapracha, He will not release you, he says. Nor will He forsake you. Lo yapracha, lo yazveka. It's a word from Rofei. Okay, and then Azav. So he says, so Rashi explains, Lo yapracham, lo yitain lecha rifiyon liyot ne'ezav imeno, that he shouldn't give to you this weakness so that he will be, that you will be abandoned from, that you abandon from him. So that's why he's connecting those two. So here Moshe, is saying, be strong and have courage. Why does he have to say this? Moshe just said that you're going to wipe him out like Sichon Og. Why does he have to say, you need to be strong? Yeah.
Because they did all that with Moshe, and that was Joshua.
They did what with him?
They destroyed Sichon and Og with Moshe. They haven't seen if Joshua was capable of doing what Moshe.
Yeah, so Moshe is saying to them that, I hear what you're saying, but Moshe is saying to them, don't, Hashem is the one who's leading you over, not Joshua. Joshua is Hashem's picked leader, so Hashem will know what he's doing. And yet he still has to tell the people, so he's not saying, by the way, follow Moshe, follow Yeshua. He's saying, be strong and have courage, don't be weak, Hashem is going to be with you. He keeps encouraging them like that. So the question is, why does he have to keep encouraging him? Yeah?
Maybe because it was something to do
Sorry.
with the spy mission, where they were afraid and they started crying, and they thought that Hashem forsook them and they left them in the desert to die.
Okay.
Take them to a land to get killed, but so now they're going into that land, they're back again. So now, just because you've messed up before and you were afraid and you were lacking in faith in God, don't worry, God will protect you. Even though I've said this before, but God will protect you because you've said God has forsaken us before in the same situation.
So, okay, I hear. Because that is, it could be true what you're saying. That's what's going on. Moshe has to keep encouraging us not to do what we normally would do. Run away when we see something or feel that we're not we're not fit for this. So, you have to be strong. That's why it says, Lord Bracha, the Sforno again says, he will not make you weak. He will strengthen your hand in the time of war, and he will not abandon you. Afterwards, he won't lessen from you. It's interesting to say remove. He says he won't lessen his divine supervision over you, and so that they will not rise against you. So that's all these foreigners looking at those words of he won't make you weak and he won't abandon you. Bottom line is, we have to have a lot of encouragement when we're going into this because, let's face it, we are a people who can be overwhelmed by these other nations. There's no question. We're going to take on 7 nations. We know that we've been living in a bubble, literally a bubble, clouds surrounding us, manna coming from the heavens. We're learning Torah all day. We're not trained. We weren't training ourselves to deal with battle. We were dealing with the battles of Torah. That's about all we were doing. Once in a while, we had to go out and fight when Hashem wanted us to do it because we messed up. Because we messed up with Hashem when we start to cry for nothing. So Hashem said, if you're going to cry, so now you have to fight conventional warfare, but still don't worry, I'm with you. Normally, again, you're going to send that before we go to war, you're going to have the Kohen announce, who's afraid of this, who's married, and so on and so forth. Those you can have less people, so he's saying, no, you have to be strong. Yeah.
Did the Jews ever meet anyone during their wanderings after they went to Israel and they're in the desert going around for 40 years? Did they meet anyone that didn't attack them, they didn't fight and destroy, that just saw there's a big cloud bubble?
A big what?
Did anyone else see
a cloud bubble?
Yeah, who were people that they ran into that they had to fight?
There were plenty of people that just ignored them.
No, but did they even see them? Did they say, the Jews, okay.
Yeah, they probably did see them, and if they knew they shouldn't tangle with them.
Oh, okay.
See, the whole thing is, like I said, they didn't need them, so they weren't wandering for 40 years, from place to place to place. Yeah. They were going, and for 19 years they were stationary in one place. It was that's what we learned in parsha in Matos Maseh.
Is that an Elu?
I think Kadesh, actually. They stayed in Kadesh. For 19 years they were there and not moving. So, they weren't, it wasn't, we envisioned people constantly on the move. It wasn't true. They were constantly on the move for the first year and then the 40th year, because they have to get to Israel already. So Hashem is moving them along. But for a long time they are stationary. And so the question would be, did the people sell them food or not? Did they try to have some relations with these people? It wasn't necessary. That would be an interesting question, and I don't know if anybody answers it. I know when it comes to, I don't know, I'm surmising, that when it comes to the 40th year, and suddenly they start to complain that this man that we've been having is torturous to our bodies because we haven't gone to the bathroom for umpteen years. And why didn't they go to the bathroom? Because the food was perfect. It was balanced. But they got exactly what they needed from the food. There was no waste product, unlike in our foods, where there's a lot of waste product. No matter how well you eat, there's waste products. That's why you have to defecate or urinate. Okay, so now when they start meeting up with these other places and they start to indulge in in what we would call real food, ruining their system. So now they have to start.
It must have been disturbing.
Tell me about it. There you go.
First time they gotta go.
Right, no, it is. And now they're realizing, what's going on here, and you don't know what to do. So I can see why they were complaining. You ruined my system. I used to be able to eat all the junk food in the world. Now I can't even have good stuff. So again, I'm surmising that from what's going on in the verses.
Maybe that's why Jews have such bad intestinal systems.
Now, children is what does that to us. I'm sorry.
Middle of the night, you wake up in your tent. I'm leaking.
All right. Oh, there you go. Okay, so now we are on the third Aliyah. We're moving today. Vayikra Moshe Yoshua. So Moshe called to Yoshua. And he said to him, Le'enei, but he called Yisrael in front of all the people. In front, Chazak v'emot, be strong and have courage. Now he's telling the leader, be strong and have courage. Why would he say it to the leader?
Because nobody stopped. I'm going back to the golden calf. Nobody stopped the golden calf. Nobody was the leader then.
Worse than that, he was saying to him, Yehoshua, be strong and have courage, because unlike me who didn't get to cross the Jordan, you will. You will. Don't worry. If the people are stubborn, don't worry. You have to just put up with it. That's what the leader is. A leader is not just one who can order you around. A leader is one of us who can understand each and every different person and rule accordingly. That's a real good leader. And that's Hashem. Hashem understands us because He created us, so He knows what we need. So here He's telling him, be strong and have courage. Because you will bring, unlike me, you will bring this nation, Ela Arts, to the land, that Hashem swore to their fathers, Latet Lehem, to give to them. And you, unlike me, Tanchilena Otam, you will be the one who causes them to inherit it. Okay? So he has to give him, he truly has to give Yehoshua encouragement. Because Yehoshua will otherwise think, if Moshe Rabbeinu, who spoke face to face, as it were, with God, and he messed up because he hit the rock instead of talking to the rock. And why did he do that? Because the people were yelling, or whatever his sin was, I don't have a chance. I don't want this role. I want to be the guy who's just going behind. Let me just walk in. Don't worry about it. I'll set the base medrash up. I have no problem. I'll be the second in charge. I don't need to be the first. And so he says, no, you are the first. You will be the one. So be strong and have courage. Okay, and then he goes on to say, Hashem, hu ho'olech lefanecha. Hashem, He is the one that is going before you. Hu hi ya'imach. He, God, will be with you. Lo yabracha, He will not make you weak. Lo yazveka, He will not abandon you. Lo tira, you should not be afraid. Lo techan, you should not be dismayed. So he gives them a whole. He has to give him the same speech he's giving to the people. And oops, let's turn the page. Okay, and fine. So Rashi says, Moshe Amal Yeshua. Moshe said to Yeshua, Zekanim Shebedor Yu Imach. The elders that in this generation they will be with you. Hakol lefi datem v'yatzatem. Everything will be according to their dot and their advice, their knowledge and their advice. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Yeshua, Ki atat tavi ed b'nei Israel, because you will bring b'nei Israel el ha'aretz to share nishbat to them, that to the land that I swore to them. Tavi al korcham, you will bring them by force. Hakol taloi bach, everything is dependent upon you, Yehoshua. Tul makel v'hach al kad kadan. Take the stick and hit him over the head. Now, if they don't want to move, you move them. Right. That's shot number one. Shot number two, Devar Achir. Ledor, for a generation. I'm sorry, Echal Ledor, there's only one leader for a generation. V'lo shnei Devarim Ledor, and not two leaders for a generation. You understand? Before you ask the question, you understand what he's saying? There's only one leader, there cannot be two. You can only have one Rav, you can't have two. You can only have one president, you can't have two. One prime minister, not two. That's the only way you're going to get things done. One, it has to be, who's the president said, the buck stops here. Truman, he was right. The buck has to stop. You can't say there's somebody else. There's one boss to one generation. By the way, that's why it's so difficult to find the next generation. And in our previous generation, Rav Moshe Feinstein was a recognized posek hador, the ruler of the ruling decisive of the generation. At least, I think for most of the world, actually, I think most people respected him. Today, though, we don't know. Rav Chaim who? Kanievsky. Okay, but it's not. I don't know. I don't know if everybody recognizes him as the posek hador. Oh, and by the way, you have the posek hador, then you have the manig hador. You have either two. Who's the manig of the generation? So you have a whole bunch of, we departmentalize everything. Yeah.
When it uses the I can't remember what it's called, but the image of hitting over the head with the stick.
Yeah, take the stick and hit him over the head.
That sounds more like when you said leader, would a better word be a shepherd? That seems
okay.
To shepherd things.
Yeah, okay. He's using that imagery, correct. Yeah. Correct. He's saying that if they don't want to go, you force them. Because you're the leader. What happens? People many times don't want to listen to the leader. So what they say is, well, I think I should do it this way. Poof, hit him over the head. I'm doing it my way. My way or the highway. Period. Benevolent dictator. Right. But again, if God's telling you to do it, so you have to listen. If I'm telling you, you don't have to listen to anything. Okay. So that's what's going on. So then he says, Vayichtov Moshe the Torah. So Moshe wrote this Torah, whatever, and this again, what part of what we're saying with this Torah, and what happens? He wrote this Torah, and Vayitna el haKohanim b'nei Levi, and he gave it to the Kohanim, the children of Levi, Hanosim, the ones who carry it, Aaron Brit Hashem, the covenant, the ark of the covenant of Hashem. V'el kol ziknei Israel, and to the elders of Israel. So Rashi says, Vayichtov v'yidna, what did he give? Kishenigmra kula nidna levnei shivto. When he completed the entire Torah, he gave it to his tribe. That's what he did. So we're looking at the whole Torah. When he wrote everything out, he gave it to them. Fine. And then, Vayitzav Moshe otam lemor. And now Moshe says, and by the way, there's a whole argument. What is the Torah? Is it from Bereshis until Zot Bracha? Or is it just Sefer Devarim? Because of this next verse. So it says, Vayitzav Moshe otam lemor, Moshe commanded them, saying, Miketz Sheva Shanim, at the end of 7 years. In other words, at the end of the Shemitah cycle, which was just last year. Okay, so B'moed, Shana Shemitah, and the Moed in the time in the year of the Shemitah, B'chag HaSukkot, at Sukkot. What happens? B'vo kol Yisrael, the Ra'ot, et Pnei Hashem Lokecha. All of Israel will come to appear before the face of Hashem, your God, b'makom asher in the place that He will choose. God will choose. Tikra et Torah zot negi kol shel bazem. You shall read this Torah opposite all of Israel into their ears, which Rashi says, who's reading it? HaMelech hayakore mitechilat el advarim. The king is one who's reading it from the beginning of the book of Deuteronomy. Al bima or shall eitz on a altar, on a platform of wood, she'osim ba'azara, that they would make in the azara, the courtyard of the temple. Yeah.
So every 8 years.
Yes.
After
Yes. Every 8 years. Yes. So yeah.
No, it says it's after every.
After the 7th year. In other words,
It'd still be 7 years. It's just offset from the Shemitah by 1 year.
also in the beginning of that year.
Of the 8th year.
Last year.
The next year would be offset. It'd be offset.
It would be the
again.
first year of the next Shemitah
Yeah,
year.
it's still every 7 years though, because the Shemitah is 7 years. So the year after Shemitah is every 7 years too. It'd still be 7 years difference.
Oh yeah, I'm not arguing
No,
that. Correct.
not
correct.
8 years.
So it can be 8, right? But it's the first year of the new Shemitah cycle.
Right.
So last year, this past year, well, it's last year at this point. This past year, at Sukkot, we would have, the king of Israel would have had to read in the temple courtyard the entire book of Deuteronomy publicly, which would take approximately 3 hours. Depends on how fast you read, but let's say 3 hours, just for argument's sake, to read it. Now, of course, it wasn't supposed to be read like we read, blah, 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 to get rid of it. It was supposed to be read, and there was a person there explaining it. So it would take a little while to get it done, because what we're doing is the entire book of Deuteronomy is one that's in the beginning is history, reminds us of what we did wrong. Then it gives us the curses, and the final warnings to follow the Torah. So really, the entire book of Deuteronomy is one that gets us to do tshuva, to think about tshuva and how to hook up to God, as compared to Bereshis, which is just telling us that God is the creator of the world. A jest. Jest. Okay. It comes to Shemot, telling us why we owe God what we owe Him, and also the building of the Mishkan. Vayikra is telling us basically the Karbanot and the order of the Karbanot, and then Bamidbar just basically gives us the history of when we're in the desert. It's a very time-bound book as a result of that, and then finally Devarim. So
it's a recapitulation of.
Right. So really, that's all you have to. If you're reading that and you're understanding it and you're hearing it, so then that's what you want. So who's supposed to come to this reading? That's another thing. Okay, so the Torah doesn't leave that to your imagination. It says, Hakel el ha'am, assemble, cause, it's a command form. Yeah. Hakel el ha'am. So assemble the people. How do they say? Gather together the people. Fine. Who? Ha'anashim, the men. V'hanashim, and the women. V'hataf, and the children. By the way, I'll be more specific there. If I was just translating literally, the man, the women, and the child. Doesn't say tapim, it says taf. The child. V'gercha asher v'karecha, and again, singular, and the stranger that is in your gates. Laman yishma'u, so in order that they should hear. Ulama'an yilmadu, in order that they should learn. V'yaru, and they will have awe or fear at Hashem Lokecha, they will have awe or fear Hashem your God. Vishamru la'asor, and they will guard to do at kol divrei Torah, all the words of this Torah. Well, which Torah? Again, is it just Devarim, or is it the whole Torah? That refers back to, that would make sense to refer back to all the Torah commandments. More, because you don't have In the whole book of Bereshit, how many commandments do you have?
3.
There you go. Good shot. You have 3. In Shemot, you have more. In Vayikra, you have the majority, and in Bamidbar, I don't know. I think there's a very few there too. There's not many in Bamidbar, and certainly in Devarim you have some. Okay, but for the most part, you're learning heavy. So now what happens? Again, you have the men, women, and children. Okay, so what's going on? So Rashi says, why are the men there? Little mode. The men are there to learn. Hanashim there to go l'shmoa, to hear, not to learn, because why? Women don't learn Torah.
The what?
Women do not learn. There's no commandment for the women to learn Torah. When I mean learn Torah, I'm not talking about going through the parsha of Shavua. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about Tanakh. They certainly should learn their history and everything else. There's no mitzvah to it. That's something else. But the man has to learn the Torah in order to be able to fulfill the Torah. So that's, and again,
And to keep teaching it.
and to keep teaching it to others, right? So what we have to do is we have to learn. So that's why when we have a commandment, we have whatever you do, we have to learn all the Gemaras. The women aren't obligated to do that. So they're coming to hear. They get the nice lectures, yeah.
So, for reference, reference. There are the high holidays that you have, and you go in every year, once a year. No, the high holidays, Sukkot.
The high holidays will be Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. Then you have the Shlosha Galim,
Right.
which would be Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot.
Right.
That's when you have to go to the temple.
Right. So, what? Yeah. So every year you do the 3 ones, and then you do Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. But every year you're doing Sukkot at the designated place at the temple. But once the new sabbatical year starts, you go. Is it the same time, or is it during? It's during Sukkot. So you're there for
The last days.
right. You're there for the thing where God says.
It's called Hakel.
Okay.
It's called the Hakel Assembly.
Okay.
Right.
So when God says you're supposed to come here out in these 3 holidays, you're here for Sukkot, but it's also the first of the sabbatical year. So you're also getting the king of Israel reading
The whole entire book of Devarim.
of Devarim.
Right.
Okay. So, but that's only but that's combined with the commandment you're supposed to go to on Sukkot.
Every year you're going on Sukkot. What
Right.
you're doing is staying. What happens on the first year of the sabbatical, the new sabbatical cycle, is you have to do.
Right.
Right. So you just have more. It's like here, right? In the morning. So we start at 7:30. We normally get through at 8:30. Today, because we had to do Avinim Malkeinu, we had to do a whole bunch of stuff. So we went till 8:45. That's like Hakel, when you have to go, you have to start pushing things into the agenda. Okay. Now the question is, okay, well, you know why the men are coming with other women? Why are the children coming? So here Rashi says, Lama Bao, why they're coming? To give reward to those who bring them.
Oh.
We're not worried about the kids crying or running around. We're giving reward to the parents because they're saying this is what it's all about. The kids. You need to bring the next generation.
Yeah.
You can't leave the generation outside. So, and that's also, so it's Kedei, another one is Kedei Shekabel, Tzachar Meviyim. Oh, okay, in order the same thing. It's just in order to receive reward for giving them. Okay, and then it says the Gercha Shebisharecha. So here the Art Scroll brings down a non-Jew who observes the Noahide laws. Although he's not bound by the commandments of the Torah, he should attend the Hakel, and perhaps he would be inspired to inquire into its significance and be inspired to convert. That's according to the Ibn Ezra. Why the Ibn Ezra is pushing conversion is an interesting question. Okay. Although the word ger often refers to a convert of Judaism, Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky shows that in this case, Rambam and probably Ramban agree with him in Everett's interpretation that non-Jews should participate in Hakel. He comments that there is clearly that this is clearly not a commandment on the Gentile, for if it were, there would be 8 Noahide laws, not 7. There you go, logic. Rather, it's a commandment on Jews to encourage resident Gentiles to attend. Jews never force conversion upon Gentiles, nor do they even encourage it. But this commandment demonstrates the obligation for Jews to behave in a way that will bring credit upon Israel to such a degree that onlookers will be inspired to join them. By the way, just for historical honesty here, there were times that we did force conversions, and it was never a good situation for us. Nazarites were, I believe, one of the groups that we forced these certain things, and look what happened with that. Nazarene, sorry.
Yeah,
Right. That's right. Nazarites.
Nazarenes.
You're right, Nazarenes. I'm sorry, you're right, Nazarenes. Also, you had others, the Idumeans. I think it was forced conversion. And even if you go look to the Torah, the Eshet Yevhatuar, the woman who was captured at war, where you force her to convert if the guy wants to keep her. In all these situations, it never, ever, ever works out well for us. So that's why I believe that we would be much less inclined, these days certainly, but we have no power whatsoever to want to force that. So that's why I think for centuries, maybe even millennia, we haven't done it. Yeah.
Or could also be if you're, is it in Israel they're doing this?
What?
They're gathering in the temple, yeah, the temple in Israel. Okay, so because they're gathering in the temple and they're having the kahel.
Hakel. Yeah.
The king's giving a speech, reading the Deuteronomy. Right. So maybe it's just, if you're going to live in our country, we might as well learn history and be a little bit nationalistic. Yeah, I guess nationalistic.
It could be. No, that could be certainly one of the causes to be. If you're going to live here, you should know what we're doing here, right? And like that's why the Ibn Ezra says maybe they'll be inspired to convert. Like I said, I'm not sure why it's seen as such a good thing to convert. Once you convert, you have more obligations. So I'm not sure why that would be such a great thing. But if they follow the 7 Noah commandments, they're also good. That's the point of it. God doesn't force anybody to convert. But, I noticed that when people hear there's going to be a conversion, the people that are thinking of converting, there's suddenly a competition going on. Well, you want to learn, you should do this, blah, blah, blah. And I think it's overrated. Again, a convert can either be the greatest thing for the Jewish people or the biggest makkah, biggest plague for the Jewish people. Wow. If the person converts and is sincere, so he can turn into an onklos and get into the side, or he can be like Rev Meir's parents and produce great things. Or if they're not sincere and they did it for marriage or whatever else they're doing it for, then they can be the biggest curse for us because they won't fulfill the mitzvot. And they're already part of us, and they're going to cause damage to us. Or they'll get angry at us for not supporting them for whatever reasons they thought would be good for them. And again, they can now start telling the church what we're doing or we're not doing, and so on and so forth. So the Rambam says they're a makkah, they're a plague because of that. Or they could be, by the way, even the other side, really too frump for us. And they can make us look bad. So all those different things go on when it comes to conversions. That's why, again, we would never want, except for those few times in history, which never worked out for us. Again, I said, I hope it never worked out, but it caused headaches. But today, certainly, we push away. The only ones who are pulling today are the Reform. They want to convert a lot of people. At least that was a book I remember, I think by Broad.
Yeah?
What?
Due to intermarriage.
No, due to one, they're building up the coffers. They want to increase it.
Seriously?
Yeah. It was, I think Israel Brog wrote the book. I think I have it in my...
Any other religion.
When they find they're losing their people at home, right?
Whatever. How did Christianity become so pagan? Appeal to the masses, so let them all come in.
So we'll have to stop here.
You don't even need baptism.